How are we doing today, everybody? Thanks for stopping by. You're watching the 949 GT Sprint Series Round 5 at Paul Ricard. Got a doubleheader on offer tonight. Josh McKean right now, second place in the Division 1 standings. There's a 14-point gap between him and Luke Southall. We got a kind of a three-way fight in the different divisions. In all three divisions, the championship standings are separated by like 14 points between the top two. 14 points in Division 1, 10 points in Division 2, and 6 points in Division 3. There's a 12-point gap, actually, in Division 4 now that I see it. So, technically, we have a four-way fight. So, not to diminish what Tyler Kozlakis in the Tag Heuer Porsche is doing, but also Justin Rowley, the 404. They're putting in work. Rogerio Santos, actually, newcomer to 949, was a wild card entry for the first, I believe it was the first two rounds. Currently tied for second in the standings with Rowley, so it's going to be interesting. See how that all works out. The grumpy man up in P4. Oh, Jixer's in here. Yeah, Jixer's a wild card entry. We got a lot of wild card entries. We actually had a lot of folks that are taking the drop from Paul Ricard. So we're real happy to have the reserve drivers here tonight. Appreciate all the support from the community, even the people that show up every once in a while to do a wild card entry in a race. Just looking at the standings right now, let's take a look and see how many entries we've got. We got 33 in server right now. Got a little bit of time before we go into quali. How are you doing tonight, Voodoo? Unfortunately, you can't because the server's already launched. But if you want to sign up for the series as a reserve driver and then just, answer the call whenever it happens around 6 p.m. Eastern, you're more than welcome to come join in as a reserve driver if there's a slot. Hey, Dad, how's it going? Got the double cam shot of Chris McNichol in the Ravens Reptiles Audi. Chris currently 9th in Division 1 with 54 points. He's 8 points back from Dan Tizarro and 10 points back from Peter Hutchings. Top 5 is still within striking distance, I think, for Chris, but definitely going to have to get a haul of points to crack that top 5 open in Division 1. How's it going, Turner? Justin Beachley from our friends over at Trackalicious Sim Racing. He's in the Beach GT. Aston Martin entry. Cutting the curb quite aggressively into turn 1. He's pulling off. He's going to dive back to the pits. Hope everybody's having a good night. Getting geared up for round 5, a doubleheader tonight. Pull up the format notes real quick so I can tell you guys what's what. So in the doubleheader format, you get 2 qualies, 15 minutes, 7 minutes for the first class, which is Division 3, Division 4, 8 minutes for the second class, and then 2 races at 30 minutes with 2 times multiplier. Pits are open the entire race. There's no required pit stop. No required fuel or tires, no timer, unlimited tire sets. So that's what we've got on offer for you tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Jixer on approach to Signal Corner in the Team Hivemind RacingSimTools.com entry. who come in AOR Discord and ask for racing. Hope someone found the way. Me too, Voodoo, but at the same time, I appreciate it, dude. And for anybody that is interested in doing the AOR endurance circuit, Voodoo and the Forgot to Warm Up Hive Mind crew from AOR are frequent participants in the AOR endurance, along with like Jixer, John Jorgensen. You should definitely check them out. They're good people. Josh McKean in the pits. I believe it could be that we're getting close to that briefing time. Although we do still have some folks out on track. Let's check in with Luciano Yads. He's on track. In the Madhouse Academy Aston Martin entry. Luciano's going to pull off track. 13th on the timesheet, 2.9 off the pace. Top of the timesheets right now, Josh McKean with the 55.282. Could be that the Division 1 championship gets a bit of a shakeup. Southall actually has yet to set a time. Don't know. I mean, he's in the Lexus. It's strong around here. He should be putting up a quali fight with Josh. Big congrats, by the way, to Zabsy, Mr. Zach Patterson, who was on the pit wall of the number 99 Honda Civic today at the Michelin Pilot Challenge. Let's see if we can get the results for that race already, because I believe there's something special hiding in there. Looks like looking for the event information. Don't see the results yet. In first place, from last to first, the Carl Whitmer number 99 Honda Civic. That's right. Our very own Zach Patterson on the pit wall doing strategy with the 99 Honda. Massively proud of you, Zach. You're not watching this. You're in Sebring having a good time, and you deserve it, man. You're living the dream. Everybody at 949 is pulling for you, man. Aaron Rodgers, indeed. Where is Aaron? Where's Axel Rogers, in fact? Where is Axel? Do the chat alerts work? We're just waiting for the driver's briefing to finish. We do have pit wall up and running, folks. If you want to go check that out, ! Pit wall in chat. Might be able to attend the race at a reasonable time. Sounds good, man. We've got 3 more rounds after this one. We've got 2 sprint rounds and then the race weekend to round out the season. Let's take an opportunity while we're waiting. Oh, Jixer with the resub. So I saw the alert on my screen, but I didn't hear it. I wonder if my monitor's set up incorrectly. Check that real quick. My monitor not set up correctly? No, it is. Oh, no, it's not. There it is. Jixer with 9 months, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the support. Everybody in 949 does. Let's see if we can get the standing information pulled up for you guys so we can take a look at that real quick. Let's do that. Switch over and take a look real quick. So, Luke Southall, like we were saying, on top of Division 1. 120 points. What's up, Voodoo? What's wrong? Do I need to mute the game sound? Would that help? So 120 points. Josh McKean with 106. Ed Kerstetter, Zach Patterson are duking it out in the midfield. I don't know if Ed's going to be here tonight. Zach's a scratch because he's in Sebring doing big things. Joseph Kostovich with 74 points, trying to fight his way, get some distance from Nick Gonzalez and Pete Hutchings. In Division 2, Mike Menning with Chum Motorsport, Scrubs Go Racing with 110 points. 10 points on... Is it true, the Swiss band Motorsports? 110 points for Mike Menning. Peter Greaves, Homeschool Racer on Twitch with 100 points. 20 points up on Kevin Blanchett in the Sky High Beaver Motorsports Lexus. Kevin's actually in a pretty good scrap right now with Luciano Yads and Shane Reeves in the 949 UK Porsche, not that far off. Chemo Sith for Crazy Rabbits has been on a tear in the lead of Division 3 by 6 points on Will Bruner, the Firelight Esports entry. And then we've got Cole Grease in the Adept Porsche with a 4-point lead on Paula Brady, holding on to that third spot. Tyler Kozlakis with a 12-point lead on a tie in second with Justin Rowley and Rogerio Santos. Jose Guzman not that far out, and JQ, who was actually on top of Division 4 for quite some time, has started to tumble down the order after dramatically bad races at round 3 and round 4. Kyalami was particularly harrowing for JQ, but hopefully he's going to be able to bounce back, get back in the points. We'll get you guys switched back over to the rest of free practice while we wait. Nine minutes, 16 seconds. Felix Tavinzva Hacker in the Madhouse Racing 898 entry. Down the start-finish straightaway behind Mr. Ryan McIntosh, who's in the 650 Porca. Or not 650 Porca, the 650 Maka. A Porca's behind a Maka. It's a big race weekend. We had the Michelin Pilot today. We've got Sebring this weekend. We've got Bahrain and IndyCar. So we got a lot going on. Don't ever rip on NASCAR. Falls down a cliff. Totals a $2 million Euro car. Oh, you're talking... Well, I mean, sometimes. Sometimes it's a TV comedian. Like Rowan Atkinson. Or Rowan Atkins. Atkins. I don't know why I said Atkinson. Rogerio Santos, who's tied in for second in Division 4. Been pretty quick around here. Luke Southall getting ready to set a time lap. Luke Southall has been a force. I mean, both of them, right? They're both Muppets, right? Here, let's actually bump my volume level down just a hair, 'cause it looks like I'm peaking pretty high. I hope I'm not deafening anybody in chat. That's too far. There, we'll give that a try. John Espiritu in the Slava Ukraini Lamborghini entry. Taking it slow through the chicane exchange right before we hit the Mistrel Straight. Bunch of French names. I'll try to make sure that I follow all the corner names to the best of my ability. On board with Felix Tavinsva. Heading down the Mistrel Straight, but the 650, man, is just, it's gaining on him. It just doesn't have the straight line speed in the Porker around here. Oh, and they bump each other. Lee in front. Lee. I mean, there are a lot of male and feminine. What would that be? Adjectives or articles in front of the names. Luke Southall out on track right now. Luke has got... Does he have a time yet on the table? He does not. Last lap was a 54.6, but has yet to set a legit time lap. Into signal corner. See how the Lexus handles the transition. Man, he could have been right on the edge with invalidating. Gotta wonder what Luke's quali setup around here is going to look like. How quick it's going to go. As it stands right now, Luke is chasing down that three-time championship. Yep, what happens, Voodoo, is after the race, the drivers will have 24 hours to vote on the next track. The in-game time and weather settings and format are all fixed. The only thing the drivers are picking are the track. That's the dealer's choice mechanic. Mike Minning in the Chum Motorsports entry, currently 0.295 off the pace. Mike has been really strong for Division 2. Currently got a 10-point advantage, I believe, over... Double check just to be sure. 10-point advantage on Homeschool, who's 2.4 off the pace right now. There's no such thing as stolen ideas. Everything is a copy. What's up, Gingy? How are you doing? Inspired by. Can you put that on the stream? New World Sim Racing. Inspired by. See how the Lambo does in a straight line. Right now he's punching a hell of a hole in the air. Week 4 will make it happen. Good deal, man. Good deal. By the way, folks, if you're looking for some fun GT3 action on Sundays, be sure and check out New World Sim Racing !NWSR. There's an actual channel for that in our Discord that's got all of our logos in it. Jose Guzman. He's in front of the Wonder Bread Monte Carlo McLaren of, I believe that's Mason Hart. Carson Schmelter's in here. Time to go shopping. $1:55 left in free practice. Looking at the timesheets, we've got Luke Southall on top with the 54.442, which is monster pace. 0.8 up on Josh. The Lexus is just going to be strong around here. I'm thinking the Monza victory is going to be something Josh is going to be regretting in terms of like letting Luke get that one away from him, because like Luke is winning on tracks where the Lexus isn't strong, and then he comes to tracks where the Lexus is strong, and it's just so tricky. One minute left. Peter Greaves comes across the line, does not upgrade his time or his position. Chris McNichol currently 13th on the timesheets, 2.265 off the pace. There's a heck of a gap between Luke and Josh and then everybody else. Like Mike Manning's best of the rest with 1.11 off the pace, and then on down to about P10 before we hit about the 2-second mark. What's the speed trap look like? Let's pull up. Let's see if Luke's out on track right now. He's in the pits. So what car? What do you mean? Fezzer? Oh, Fezzer or AMG? In terms of like preference for me to drive, AMG. I don't know how to drive the Fezza. I should probably learn someday, but I don't know how to drive it in ACC at all. So we're in max wait time. Flying laps do count. Again, folks, we got the double quali format. 7 minutes for Division 3, Division 4 runners. 8 minutes for Division 1, Division 2 runners. And then we've got a 30-minute race with 2x time multiplier. Yeah, I think you're probably right on that, Jixer. He's super quick right now. Which one is least used here? I mean, honestly, it's a tie. I think we have one Fezza and one AMG. So, you get to pick. Yeah, AMG did not get bopped as harshly as the Fezza did. So, there's that.
Well, Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple.
Steven
I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence,
with one viewer.
and
Thanks
nobody
so much,
can hang with
Steve.
my stuff. You know,
Really
I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine.
I didn't realize that the alert was that loud.
You know,
are you guys
okay? That phrase
is
is
it like
trademark,
really
not
bad?
to use that position to Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, it was bad. I just noticed it like big time, like really loud. And I don't, to be perfectly honest, I don't really understand why it was that loud. So I'm just going to go in. This may drop the levels down for all the other alerts. What's up, Steve? Sorry if I just murdered everybody in chat. So the NSX, there's one other NSX in the league right now, and that's Zabzy. But Lambo could be pretty spicy.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
What's up, Cardo? So Beachley's out on track. Get this switched off. So he's probably not gonna get the entry that we were looking for, like the Lexus would get. But let's get that. See if we can get that pulled up real quick. I don't know if I will be able to. Let's give it a shot. Since we're using. But we're definitely not going to get it if he's weaving. Here, we'll wait. We'll let people get some times. Yeah, Patty's the true Chad. Chatty. It's hilarious. In the rider, you think, Banshee? He said, yay, thanks. Will Bruner, currently second in, I believe he's in, yeah, he's 6 points off of Chemo Sith in Division 3. Firelight Esports entry. That could have been close to an invalidation. Your police Lambo? No, I haven't. Who's doing what after the race? Here, let's ride on board with Jose Guzman. We're going to take a trip around Paul Ricard. Into the S's. De La Vrieri? Maybe? So the next sequence of turns, it's not even another turn until we get to Virage de la Hotel, which is this fast, or this kind of like low speed right-left section before we hit the hairpin at De Camp. And gotta balance the throttle through Saint Boime, and now down the Mistrel Straight. Gonna try to get up to top speed. Let's pull up the basic HUD. Yeah, empty. That's normally what I do on Thursdays. Up to 282 before he hits signal corner. Gonna shove it out to the left. You can be very liberal with the track exit, or the corner exit out of signal. Through Basset. And now the very tricky part of Sector 3, the Bendor, Garlaban, and Virage de la Tour complex. Super tricky. On the brakes for this slow speed left-hander. You got to set up. Probably going to compromise his exit a little bit to set up for DuPont. And now down the start-finish straightaway we go. Let's see where he posts up. Comes across the line, ninth fastest with the 59.045, Mr. Jose Guzman in the RG Gaming Acura NSX. We're going to hop around now. Still got a little bit of time with qualifying. We got a minute and 23 for drivers to set a time lap. Getting the banker in with the doubleheader format is critical. Invalidating is going to be so punishing around here. Qualifying is so critical here. Will Bruner, fourth on the timesheets, 1.280. Did get the banker in. Cody Grace in the 43 Adept Porsche with a 56.077. Track is still fast, yep. Not really sure why. I believe both qualifying and races, both qualifyings and both races are on day 3, but I could be wrong on that. So Carlos Guzman, currently down in 16th. That is not where Carlos wants to be. He gets one more shot at it. He's going to want to try and get set up. Because now the Division 1, Division 2 runners are out on track. Going to set times for qualifying in race number 1 for the doubleheader round 5 of the 949 GT Sprint Series. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is Season 8 Dealer's Choice. The drivers picked. They chose Paul Ricard for the doubleheader round 5 format. Thank you all for joining me. My name is Whelpcakes. I will be your tour guide on this journey around Paul Ricard. Looks like Cody's going to pull off track. Tanner Rogers races alongside John Ezra. John is actually a scratch for this week. John's actually been really dominant. Real dominant showing at Monza. But the Tritium Racing entry has dropped 2 places in the team championship, down into 19th with 104 points. They're actually tied with the 949 UK bunch, Shane Rees and Chris Pennycook. Top of the timesheet right now is Protocharge SimSport Alpha with Luke Southall and Nico Gonzalez, but the 949 Red team of Joseph Kostovich and Ed Kerstetter are only 16 points back. And Protocharge SimSport Pete, actually, 15 points back from 949 Red, holding that 3rd spot in the team championship. Authorize me. You should be able to post a link. I see it. So Justin's in the pits. We're in daylight savings, JQ. I mean, we were only talking about it like right before you posted in Sprint Chat, so if you didn't read that far, I'm sorry. It was literally 1 or 2 messages before you posted. I don't know if you're actually... If you're a participant, you may still be able to get in. It's okay. So Coasty heading down the Mistrel Straight. Still got a Division 3, Division 4 runner on track, still finishing out. Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to get in. I'm not sure how the server handles lockouts. I don't think it locks you out if you are a... what is it? If you're on the entry list, you should be able to get in. I'm going to check real quick. Participants. I see you on the list for the Div 4 entries, so hopefully you're able to get in. Oh, that's James Brown. Never mind. He's in Div 2, I think. The Rider Boy arrives. How's it going, Patty? How you holding up? So these guys are out on flyers now. Again, 4 minutes, 16 seconds with some of these guys coming across the line to set a time lap. Again, it's really crucial. It is so important to not invalidate your lap. You got to set that time lap. It's the most important thing you will probably do today is in both qualifying sessions is setting a time lap. Because not doing it, especially in Div 1, Div 2, means you just go straight to the back of the field and have to fight your way through the Div 3, Div 4 guys. It's a very punishing format. Into signal corner we go. Chris McNichol in the draft of Peter Greaves. Mr. Homeschool Racer on Twitch. You guys can go check him out, by the way. Oh, no, that's going to be an invalidate for Peter. Go finish the lap, Peter. Don't go to the pits. Do not go to the pits. It is so important not to go to the pits. Let's take a look through the field right now. So we're still waiting. Josh McKean goes fastest with the 54.482. So he has definitely got some pace. Costy's got some pace in the tank. He's got 0.6. Comes across the line. Pete Hutchings with the 56.1. Luke Southall 54.322. And Joseph Kosovich goes 5th fastest with a 55.840. 0.3 behind Gixxer. Chris McNichol, Sector 3 right now, hitting the DuPont hairpin. Excuse me, he's not at the DuPont hairpin. He's getting ready to go through Latour and down the Mistrel Straight again. So he's trying to convert a time lap. Adam State's got 0.3. Costy's got 0.5. Ed's got 0.3. Luke Southall looks like he might be capable of extending. Josh McKean's lost all of his delta, and he's less than 1/10, or like actually 1.6 back from Southall right now. We're following Adam State right now, but let's switch over to Kirster because he's got 0.5, and he's going to finish his lap before State and Kostovich. So let's see what he can do. Luke Southall is going to extend. Actually, we're going to switch over to him real quick. So Southall, and then I've got Kerstetter pulled up in Sector 3 now. Oh, he just lost his delta. But Josh McKean's got a 51. Nope, not enough to do it. Ed Kerstetter, in the meantime, got a little bit of a draft behind. Oh, he is like right next to Chris on corner exit. No. Unfortunately, you can't, JQ. What's up, Muff? How you doing? So Ed Kerstetter goes 3rd fastest. Let's take a look at Kostovich. He's got 0.5. Ooh, that might have been a little too deep on the exit. Can Kosty punch in? 8th fastest. 1.185 off the pace. Luciano Yad's got 0.2 as he goes through Sector 2 right now. Pete Hutchings has got 0.3. So right now, provisional pole. Luke Southall with the 54.322. Looks like that might stand. Mike Menning right now is sitting on even delta. Yeah, but that's Gonzo. Gonzo's pretty quick. Max wait time flying laps do count. So Mike's got a 10th. Josh McKean's got a 10th. Ooh, that was sketchy on corner exit. Can Mike convert this? Because if he can get a 10th, maybe 2, he might be able to sneak past Kerstetter. Got one more corner left. It's for all the marbles, Mike. Ooh, not enough. Just not enough. Same for McKean. Southall's delta's gone. Ryan McIntosh has got 0.3 as he goes into the final corner in the Garage 59 Maka. Across the line, 7th fastest. Parimba is 6th fastest. Joseph Kostovich has got 0.3. He just lost a 10th going through the final corner, though. Is it enough? 6th fastest for Kostovich. Punches the 949 Maka up into 6th place. 0.8 off the pace. Dan Tizarro in the Turn 1 NA Pro BMW M4 into the final corner. He's got 6/10, which would be good for him. Could potentially punch him up inside the top 14. And he goes 13th fastest. Look at that. Oh, I can still switch. Man, it's close. Almost goofed. There you have it, folks. 10, 11, 12 SGR train. Muff, you're excited for the doubleheader? I'm telling you, dude, finish your quali laps. That is going to be so important for not only this, but then when we do the race weekend format at the end of the season, it's going to be very important to get quali. Like, you can't invalidate. So important. And we're setting the grid for the race. Round 5 of the 949 GT Sprint Series. We are in Paul Ricard. Lake Castellet. Let's get a quick temperature check. 28 degrees on track for 30 minutes. Noon is the race start time. It is 2x time multiplier, so we will get to 1 p.m. before the end of the race. We'll pass 1 p.m. They're getting their tires and fuel set. Let's do our best to do a quick rundown of the order. Switch this music. I don't like this. Here we go. All right. Getting over into the helicopter cam on pole position. Again, we got a front row lockout for Protocharged SimSport. Luke Southall in the Lexus, dominating first half of the season for Luke. Josh McKean's really going to have to put it all on the line to see if he can try and upset Luke's momentum right now. So Luke Southall on pole position for Protocharged. Alongside him, again, Josh McKean in the 77 for Protocharged SimSport in the Aston Martin. We got Gonzo, Mr. Nick Gonzalez in the Bentley for Protocharged. He's third, so we got a 1-2-3 for Protocharged. Fourth on the grid, Ed Kerstetter in the 949 Sim Racing McLaren. Mike Minning for Chum Motorsports Scrubs Go Racing in the 918. Division 2 leader in the Aston, fifth on the grid. Joseph Kostovich alongside him in the 949 Sim Racing McLaren. Jixers in the Hive Mind, RacingSimTools.com entry, par 64 in the Maka, seventh on the grid alongside Mr. Matt Paremba for 949 Sim Racing, who's racing in the Fezza after being out of the season for a good chunk of time with a broken wheelbase, but he's back with us. Glad to have him. Ryan McIntosh, a wildcard entry in the 188, McLaren 650, Sport and Garage 59 colors. Chris McNichol in the Ravens Reptiles Audi, 10th on the grid. James Brown for Scrubs Go Racing in the McLaren, Sticker Bomb McLaren. Godfather of Souls, 11th on the grid. Adam State for Scrubs Go Racing's in 12th spot in front of 7th row of the grid. We got Dan Tizarro for Turn 1 NA in the M4. Lined up alongside him. Division 3, Cody Grace in the Adept Porsche. So Cody's had a really good showing in terms of pace around here, and Paul Ricard in the Porsche. Pete Hutchings for Protocharged SimSport in the Aston Martin, 15th on the grid, next to Kevin Blanchette in the Sky High Beaver Motorsports Lexus entry. Got Jose Marquez in the 49 Maka entry, 17th on the grid, alongside Peter Greaves, homeschool racer on Twitch for Protocharged SimSport. He's in the McLaren P18. Tanner Rogers, he's part of the Tritium crew. He's in the Lexus, but sporting Tech 1 colors. He's 19th on the grid. Rogerio Santos in the T-Rex McLaren, 20th on the grid. Let's actually bounce back to P21 here. Luciano Yads from Madhouse Academy in the 99 Aston Martin, alongside Sam Ramsbottom for Karimba Bimba in the McLaren. Will Bruner for Firelight Esports, second in Division 2. is in front of the Division 3 is in front of the Division 3 leader, Chemosith, in the 727 for Crazy Rabbits. Justin Moffitt for Crazy Rabbits in the M4 as well. 25th on the grid alongside Patty McNichol in the Scrubs Go Racing rider entry. Shane Reeves for 949 UK in the Porsche back in 27th alongside Venkat in the 199 Porsche entry. We got Beachley in the Beach GT Aston Martin in front of Mason Hart in the Wonderbread McLaren entry. John Espiritu in the Slava Ukraini Lamborghini is alongside Mr. Justin Raleigh in the 404. Further on down the grid, we got Jose Guzman in the RG Racing Honda entry. Tyler Kozlakis in the Tag Heuer Porsche entry is 34th on the grid, in the lead of Division 4 right now, but he's going to have a fight on his hands to try and claim some spot back, get some good points. Carson Schmelter in the 92 Honda entry, 35th on the grid in front of Carlos Guzman, who's way out of place in the Arcane Motorsport entry, currently 36th on the grid. Felix Tavinsva Hacker in the 898 Porsche entry for Matt House in front of Steve K in the number 11 McLaren. And JQ is in the 21 Emil Frey Lexus, and that is your grid for the first race of round 5. We do have Pit Wall online, folks. What's up, Mohawk? What was Luke's quali time? Let's take a look. It's a 54.322. Sorry, I didn't need to look. I remembered it. World 69420. Thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate the support. They are lining up side by side as they go through the final 2 corners. Luke Southall's got to get a good jump off the line. Straight line speed and acceleration is going to be an advantage for the Lexus in comparison to the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin, once it gets up to speed, especially in the end of Sector 1, Sector 3, it's going to be tough. So Luke's got to use that straight line advantage, speed to his advantage as much as possible. And away we go. Green for the first race. Will Bruner on the outside, jumping the queue, trying to get up some spaces in the mid-pack. Into turn 1 we go. It's relatively clean. A little bit of touching between McIntosh, and that might have been McNichol. What's up, Just Fetty? That was a clean T1. Now, will we maintain that cleanliness through the first sector? That remains to be seen. Looks like we do have some collisions back in Hotel. Now down the Mistrel Straight we go. Let's get a rear shot of the Protocharge SimSport Lexus. Believe it or not, Josh is really hanging with him. Mr. Shy Guy with the sub. Thank you so much, Reed. Really appreciate it, dude. Man, we got good racing action here in the end of Sector 2. Looks like Coasty and Nick are jockeying for position. Or that's Ed. Ed and Nick come together. Oh, no. And that collected Kostovich. Oh, no. That was unfortunate. See if these guys can get back out on track. The teammates come together. I think that was inadvertent. That's going to knock them pretty far down the order. That was Gonzo and Kerstetter that set off a chain reaction. How's it going, Carter? Oh, glad you got home, man. Hope school's going okay. What's up, Blaine? Yeah, it's rough, but at the same time, too, there's a second race, so there's still good points on offer. So that threw Kostovich and Ed Kerstetter pretty far down the order. They're back in 35th now. And 36th, respectively. James Brown duking it out with Pete Hutchings. Pete Hutchings, Cody Grace, and who was that? That's the Jose Marquez entry of car 49. Or Javier Marquez, I should say it correctly. James Brown gets gobbled up on the exit of Saint Boimé. High again. Ooh, Blanchette making the move on Javier. Cody is losing places down the straightaways. These guys are just jockeying for positions down the Mistrel Straight. Looks like Cody was a little uneasy beside Javier. Where is Mike? Mike is in P4 right now. Let's check in with Mike in the Chum Motorsports entry. Currently behind Gonzo. Got a little bit of space on Matt Paremba in the 949 488. Ooh, looks like Homeschool might have gone sideways. What was happening there? Where is Mr. Peter Greaves? Peter Greaves was sideways, man. He's tumbling down the order. Back down into 29th. Oh, looks like one of the McLarens and Kerstetter coming together. Is that Rowley? It might have been Justin Rowley. It was either Rowley or Steve K. Couldn't tell which. Oh no, is that Santos? Santos just pulls off the track. What happened there? Rogerios back out on track. Where's McIntosh? Ryan's in the pits. Something must have happened. Rogerio Santos, I don't know if he's dealing with damage or what. That car is limping around. So a little bit of chaos in race 1. Shuffling the order about in the mid-pack. Luke Southall in the lead, currently 8/10 on Adam Turn. Someone might have been Ryan. Heard from Chris in the background. Okay. Well, Adam's up in 6th. Go on board from Mr. Blanchette's perspective. So Hutchings is pulling away. 2.9 between Hutchings and Blanchette right now. Blanchette trying to pull away from Javier. Luke Southall with 9/10 on Josh McKean. Gonzo's 3.6 back. And then we've got Mike Minning, Matt Paremba are your top 5. Adam State is gaining on Matt Paremba a little bit. And Dan Tizarro is going to be in a bit of a scrap with Chris McNichol. We're going to tune into that fight right now. Let's go check in on that. So Dan Tizarro... Let's get some dash footage of the Turn 1 NA Pro. Ooh, Chris looks like he's struggling with the back end of the Audi under braking. Should be a part of the track, though, that Chris is comfortable with. He's usually pretty good in the technical parts with the Audi. There's the Tag Heuer Porsche entry of Tyler Kozlakis off track in Sector 3. Ed Kerstetter gaining on him. Dan comes across the line, sets a 55.6. What did McNichol have? A 56.1. So Tez has got a little bit of pace in pocket. Can he catch Chris, though? That's the question. Through the field right now. And, oh, he goes off. He goes off. Tez loses it at DeCamp. Not sure why the M4 understeered quite that bad through the corner. Might have just overshot. Josh McKean, 4/10 from Luke Southall. So there is no pit requirement in this 30-minute race. It is 2x time multiplier, so we are 2:31 p.m. in-game sim time, and it is 29 degrees on track. Thank you for the follow from Modded Minecraft. How are you doing? You're rooting for Chemo. Where is Chemo at? Let's go check in with Chemo Sith. Division 3 leader. Currently in, was that 5th in division? So Marquez, Grace, Rogers, and Bruner all have spots in front. He's just trying to find his way around JQ. JQ's leaving the space into DuPont. Oh, man, they are close. They touch a little bit. That's fine. Turns out he was playing with no FFB and no Fanatec drivers, so I got that all done for him, and it's better. Lowell had no idea how he did that. Has he been doing that the whole time? Man. Wow. At the same time, that's gonna be doing a number on him from a comfort perspective because he's not used to having the force feedback. Stop-go penalty for car 92. Chemosith just lets Ed go, which is probably the smart move. Like, Ed's genuinely quicker. So JQ's kind of holding up this traffic a little bit. Meanwhile, we're going to jump forward. Race leaders are still going at it. Somebody who's made up some serious ground, Felix Tavinsva in the Madhouse Porsche, was next to last on the grid and is 13th now. Now, Felix won this event, I believe, in Season 6 of the 949 GT Sprint Series. It was a 1-hour sprint. No, it was the endurance format we did at that time. So, Felix is known to be deadly in a Porsche around here, even though it is the slower car in terms of bounce performance. He's gaining on Cody, currently 9/10 back. Josh McKean's dropped back now to about 6/10. Mike Minning's about 9/10 back from Gonzo. Hutch is gaining on McNichol. Actually, Hutch is really close to McNichol. Let's go check in on this. From the bonnet cam of the Protocharged Sim Sport Aston Martin entry.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Stop-go penalty still in effect for car 92. That is... Where's car 92? Oh, that's Schmelter. Oh man, we got a good fight on screen and on both cameras. McKean has gained on Southall again. On the defensive.
What are you smiling about?
Dude, I almost had you.
Ooh. What a lineup.
You almost had
Big
me.
V on the corner.
You never
He gets
had
some on the exit.
You never had your car.
Ooh, this is going to be close down into turn 1. Hutch is trying to apply the pressure. Ooh, a little bit of a oversteer moment for Hutch. But he is just tiptoeing around. Check in with Chemo. Let me look at the timesheets. Where's Chemo at? Chemo is currently 0.6 ahead of Moffitt and 1.8 back from Rees. Check the race leader fight real quick, and then we'll switch over and take a look at Chemo. Because we got 15 minutes and 20 seconds left. And Josh McKean, hats off to him. He's really keeping Luke in touch in that Aston Martin. Not normally the stronger car around here at Paul Ricard. Lexus is pretty broken right now in terms of its straight line speed. But Josh has been on quite the improvement arc. We just passed the halfway point. Into Sector 3 we go. So if we're looking at the divisions right now, Menning is going to get another good haul of points. It looks like Adam State is in position to get a pretty decent chunk as well. Division 3, Javier Marquez is a wild card entry, so he's kind of out of place here. But Cody is going to get a good chunk of points. And then Will Bruner might be able to take the championship fight in Division 3 to Chemosith after this. We're just going to have to keep our eyes on that. Checking in on Chemosith. Currently 22nd on track. Joseph Kosevich trying to find his way around. Two crazy rabbits M4s drafting each other. Kevin Blanchett's actually in a fight right now. He's got Felix just moving around in his rear view, giving him fits. Felix just tiptoes the Porsche right on around. Sky High Beaver Lexus. Kevin Blanchett. And here comes Cody Grace. Cody Grace is just going to follow the leader right on around. Kevin is struggling around here in the Lexus. I figured this would be a good course for him. He's a Lexus main. Let's look back through the field a little bit more now. And actually, let's look at Dan Tizarro, who is chasing down Chris McNichol. The Turn 1 M4 putting in work. Now, Dan currently is 8th in the championship, but the Division 1 championship, but this would be a good points haul for him to extend the gap on Chris McNichol a little bit. He wants to try and keep close to Pete Hutchings. Pete Hutchings is only 2 points ahead of him in Division 1 right now. The gap between South Hall and McKean is growing again. Oh man, they're so close to coming together. Oh, Chris goes wide. Oh, back in, stepped out on him. The Bendor Garlaban De La Tour complex just seems to be catching out Chris. He's getting a lot of oversteer on corner exit. Gonzo's blocking your boy Mike from greatness. Mike's got to get faster. Gonzo's quick. Ooh, man, they almost came together. That was so scary. On board with the Adept Porsche entry. And Kevin is just struggling. Last lap for Kevin was a 56.3, which is about 0.3 quicker on average than Cole. I keep calling you Cody. I'm sorry, Cole. You can see the straight line speed differential between these two cars right now. Lexus has got a huge straight line advantage on the Porsche. Into signal corner. Chemo sits on the inside of Prithvi Venkat in the 199 Porsche entry. Lots of close racing right now. Even with only 8 minutes left in this race, people have been keeping it pretty tight. Closest fight on track right now. Kevin Blanchett trying to hold off Cole. It's been pretty tricky for him. That looks like Muff behind Kostovic. So Kerstetter, after dropping back almost to the back of the order, moved his way back up to 16th. Unfortunately, I think even with that many spots gained, it's going to be a struggle for points in Division 1 for him. This could really upset the middle order in Division 1 after this race. What happened to Cole? Cole just immediately dropped back. You have a moment in signal. He's back on track. Just lost a lot of ground to Blanchette. Marquez. Javier Marquez gets passed by Felix Tvinsva. Felix, who was next to last, moved up into 10th. Six minutes, 10 seconds left in this race. Looking through the field, trying to find close fights for us to watch. Somebody who's moving through the field, like I said, trying to harvest as many points as he can. Ed Kerstetter. 949 Sim Racing behind James Brown. Ed's really trying to catch up to James Brown. It's tricky because, I mean, they're both Macas, so it's not like they have like a distinctive like speed disadvantage, one car over the other, unless there's like a huge setup delta. Beachley goes a little bit wide on the exit of Saint Boismet before he heads down the Mistrel Straight, and it looks like Gixxer might try to make a move on the inside into signal. He just makes it look clinical. Getting the move done. That's how you do it. Chris McNichol. Now he's got Felix in his rear view. Felix is just harvesting places. After 13 laps, Luke Southall in the lead of this race. Josh McKean, 3.159, so drop back a lot in terms of pace. Ooh, here we go. Here we go into Hotel. Side by side. Chris Comp had to take a very tight line through Ducamp. Ooh, a little oversteer moment from the Porsche. Now it's a drag race. Now, is the Audi going to start to catch up? Oh, man, he is catching him up in a big way. Holy cow. I think if Felix is going to make this work, he's going to have to stick it before the start-finish straightaway. And he's going to have to make it stick after turn one. And Javier is just benefiting from this fight. He's just going to continue to like creep up on these two, on this duo. I do think this move is over because Nick. Oh wow, what a lunge up the inside from McNichol, taking advantage of a mistake from Felix on the entry into DuPont corner. Big moves here in the mid pack. Exit of De La Tour just caught Felix out. Now into turn one. Here we go again. This time, though, he's going to get the move done on turn 1. So it's almost like what he needed anyway to have happen. Like he needed to be in front before turn 1, but he ended up being in front after turn 1, so it may still be of benefit to him. He's got at least 4 more corners before he hits the Mistrel Straight. He's going to have to get enough of a gap between him and McNichol to where the draft doesn't just completely gobble him up again. The good news for Felix is that Marquez is looming large in the background for McNichol. Kerstetter 9/10 back from Tanner Rogers. The top 10, with the exception of this battle for 9, 10, 11, top 10 is pretty much locked at this point. Let's look back through the field. So Shane Rees, Justin Rowley, and JQ. So JQ's about 5 seconds back from Chemosith, who's sitting 4th in Division 3 right now. Actually, no, excuse me, 5th in Division 3 right now.
We got a left front row. We got a fucking left rear
On the
row.
Dash Pro, the 949 UK
UK
Porsche entry of Shane Rees. At a speed disadvantage with the Porsche around here at Paul Ricard. Currently P28. Trying to wrestle some points. Into Garlabani's pushing a little bit. It's got a lot of understeer in the car. Actually, that was De La Tour. Now out of the hairpin, down the start-finish straightaway we go. Again, you can see how the straight-line speed of the Lexus and Mach start to pull away from the Porsche almost immediately. Even though the Porsche has solid acceleration. We're going to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Gixxer and Muff are going at it. Muff in the Crazy Rabbits M4. Let's actually jump forward and take a look at it from Muff's perspective. Oh, we are in white flag. I need to pay attention. And that's the race, actually. Luke Southall taking the win. Congrats to Luke Southall taking race number 1. Josh McKean. He's going to come across the line in 2nd. Nick Gonzalez in the Protocharge Bentley, a 1-2-3 for Protocharge, just dominating this season. Meanwhile, Division 2 Mike Menning in the Chum Motorsports entry. Top Division 2 finish, 4th overall. Matt Poremba in the 949. He's running Iron Links colors in the 488. Adam State getting a good Division 2 points haul with a 2nd place finish, 6th overall. Pete Hutchings comes across the line in 7th. Dan Tizarro 8th. Chris McNichol is going to come across the line in 9th. He's going to hang on to that. Looks like Javier is going to come across in 10th. Kevin Blanchett 11th. Felix Tavinsva must have had some drama there at the end of the race. Then we got Cole Grace, Tanner Rogers, Ed Kerstetter, James Brown. Down to P16, respectively. Will Bruner's going to come across the line. 4th in Division 3. Joseph Kostovich, Justin Moffitt, Gixxer, and then we've got Prithi Venkat in 21st, Justin Beachley 22nd. Peter Greaves is going to come across the line in 23rd. Chemosith in 24th. Homeschool's letting out some aggression. And JQ coming across the line 25th. Justin Rowley 26th. Shane Rees 27th. Luciano Yads 28th. McNichol 29th. Tyler Kozlakis 30th. 31st, excuse me. John Espiritu, Steve K, Jose Guzman 33rd, Carlos Guzman 34th, Mason Hart, Sam Ramsbottom, and Carson Schmelter. are your finishing order. Let's go to the race leader in the pits, Luke Southall. Protocharge 1, 2, 3. What a finish. What a finish. Thank you all so much for joining us for race number 1. Chemosith, you did terrible, but here's the thing. You got another race. You got 15 more points to try and go get. The good news is that, so Marquez is a wild card entry. You just kept getting past. Yeah, that's rough. I believe we're going to sit in the pits for a cooldown period, and then it will jump into the next session. Luke Southall, Josh McKean, Nick Gonzalez, Protocharge 1, 2, 3, Mike Menning for Chum Motorsports, Scrubs Go Racing 4th, and Matt Paremba round out your top 5. Taking a look at the Division 2 team, or Division 2 runners, we got Mike Menning, Adam State, and Kevin Blanchett, I believe, are the top 3 for Division 2. Division 3, Marquez, the wild card entry, taking the top spot. And then we've got Cole Grace, Tanner Rogers. That's your podium spots for Division 3. Division 4, Justin Beachley, or excuse me, Prithvi Venkat, a wild card entry, taking the top spot. JQ coming back with some really good points. That's going to help his Division 4 chances. Finishing 25th overall, but second in Division 4, and Justin Rowley getting some good points with that third place finish in Division 4. We're just waiting for the session to roll over into qualifying 2. Milo, how's it going, man? Oh, dude, 17 months in a row. Thank you so much. Why is it showing that camera? Here, I'll switch back over to here. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's showing the weird camera. Anyway, I know, pro streamer. So yeah, let's actually turn the music up a little bit while we talk. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm still getting my setup sorted. In fact, what I could do for you guys while we're waiting for the session to roll over, which actually, let me take a look in Sprint Chat. Oh, here we go. Quali's going to be getting started. Here we go. We're going to turn on the autopilot real quick. Let's do a couple things. Got that pulled up? Give me a second. I'll give you guys a tour of the room real quick. It's an impromptu tour. It's not finished yet, so bear with me. I just realized I also don't have a mic that I can carry around with me, so I'm just going to be doing this for a little bit, and then I'll put the camera back. So I got my rig set up over here on the other side. I got this cool fireplace. Use my standing desk. Got a whole bunch of stuff over in the corner, including John Cena and the Abominable Snowman. What else do we got? More storage over here. Got my drums. I get those set up at some point. Yeah, got a lot of space. That's my desk, where I do all my stuff. Where the magic happens. Are you kidding me? Who are you trying to fool, Milo? There's no magic. So yeah, I'll get it put together a little bit better, and then you guys can get like a full, like, cool tour of it. In the meantime, we're gonna get back into qualifying here. Let's take a look at the field for the race. So waiting for some people to come in and set some times. Muff, man, 17 months in a row, dude. 13-month streak. Thank you so much, dude. Race 1 was pretty good, Eric. It was pretty good. There were a lot of fights in the mid-pack. Getting quali set up for race number 2. Yeah, JQ, that's a good result, man. That's a good result. Second in Division 4, by the way. Because your front runner in Division 4 is a wild card entry, so he's not even in the... I mean, he's in the standings. He's going to get points, but he's not a regular. Division winners were Southall, Menning, and then Marquez, who's a wild card entry in Division 3, and then was it Prithee in Division 4, I believe? Yes, you can. Yeah, you can qualify now. Coasty said it over chat. Division 3, Division 4 people can go out. You better go quick. You've got 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And make sure your in-game chat's turned on next time, because Coasty announced that right before the session started. So, yeah, Luke. Well, Luke's the two-time man. Like he's the beast right now. I mean, he's on form. Let's be real. He's on form. But let's not take anything away from Josh right now. Josh had, what was it, a 16-point gap going into this race. And to be honest, to hold 16 points on Luke with how many wins Luke has racked up this season, it's a pretty big statement for Josh. And Josh took the fight to Luke all last season. They were basically toe-to-toe up until the very last race. In fact, Luke won the championship on the last race. He was behind. He was in second. So, yeah. And qualifying during these formats is so important. You do not have a lot of time to mess about. Meanwhile, Cole Grace, a 55.425 to punch in. Cole is just something else in quali. In Division 3, Cole has just got qualification figured out. Yep, the two-time. Cole is just doing it. Justin Moffitt's got 5/10. So 5/10 would get him a little bit closer to Marquez. Probably not enough to punch past him, but it would extend on Bruner. And Bruner's got 5/10 as well. So these two are swinging pound for pound at about the same pace right now. Justin getting a little bent out of shape in Sector 3. Milo, how are you doing tonight? Hope you're doing good. Ruthless, how are you doing? Thank you guys so much for stopping by. You're watching round 5. This is race number 2 of the doubleheader at Paul Ricard. You're watching season 8 of the 949 GT Sprint Series. It's dealer's choice. After this race, the drivers are going to get 24 hours to pick the next track. It'll be a 1-hour sprint. The weather and time settings and format are all fixed, but the drivers will get to pick from 3 tracks to set the next round for round 6 of the 949 GT Sprint Series. Steve K, currently 3.315 off the pace. Cole's still on top provisional pole right now with that 55.425. Tanner Rogers 4/10 back, and Javier coming back in. Currently 0.9 off, but the thing is, Javier didn't qualify higher than Cole last race, too, and finished in front. You gonna chill and watch race 2? Appreciate it, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope the Pint Series is going well for you. Prithi Venkat in the 199 Porsche entry, currently 9th on the timesheets, top Division 4 runner. 2.22 off the pace. Now, the Division 1, Division 2 guys are going to be heading out on track. Or at least I think they are. Oh no, they're piled up. They're waiting for the 7-minute mark. Look at that pile of cars. That is hilarious, dude. Jose currently 16th on the timesheets, 4.097 off the pace. Division 1, Division 2 runners are out on track. So Felix qualified next to last in the previous race, finished inside the top 15, was on pace for a top 9 finish, but probably had a mistake or something happened on track, cost him some places. That's actually right on board with Mr. Mike Minning. Where's he at? Man, what's up, Patty? That bump? What do you mean? So Mike's trying to balance the car through Saint Boime. Tries to straight line the left-hander. Quali sprint race win. Ryan? Which Ryan? Oh. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I mean, if it's something that you're going to protest, the only Ryan... I didn't know. I didn't know if there was another Ryan on track right now. I've got like 60 plus names to keep in my head. Oh, it'd be a racing incident? It happens. See how he handles the DuPont hairpin. Mike Minning in the Chum Motorsport. Top finisher in Division 2. Bringing in a haul of points. Goes fastest with the 54.9, but Josh McKean immediately punches in a 54.4. Hutchings is 7/10 off the pace. Times are starting to roll in here. Where's Mr. Southall? He goes to the top with a 54.2. Ed Kerstetter's going back out. Kevin Blanchette's got 8/10. Hopefully quali goes a little bit better for Kevin. It's pretty. No doubt. It's a pretty Aston. Ninth fastest, 1.5, a 55.8 for Kevin. I'm used to seeing that a little bit more out of Blanchette in the Porca. Hutch has got 2 tenths. Actually, McKean's got 3 tenths. Let's take a look at McKean's lap. It's going down the Mistrel Straight right now. Currently 1/10 off the pace. He's got enough in reserve right now to punch ahead of Luke Southall for pole position. Be a big boost to his confidence right now. Luke's caught in some dirty air from the Audi of, I believe that's Chris McNichol. And quali is so important here. I wonder if Luke's backing out just enough to come across the line and be able to set another lap. Meanwhile, Josh McKean has got 6 tenths. We could be looking at a 59, or not a 59, a 53. Comes across line, 53.9. Look at that. 3 tenths. Felix Tavinsva, currently 8 tenths off the pace in third in the 898. Dan Tesaro's got 5 tenths as he goes into the final complex here. Through Bendor, Garlaban, and De La Tour. Setting himself up for a good push out of the final corner. Up through the gears. Currently sitting on 5 tenths. That would be a healthy bump in quali. Punches him up to P11, right behind Cole. How's everybody doing tonight? How are you doing, Banshee? Hey, Muff. What else we got in chat hanging out? Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out. Really appreciate it. Playing some GTA 4. Wow. Taking the way back machine. McNichol's got 3 tenths as he goes into the final 3 corners. Max wait time flying laps do count. Southall does have 2 tenths, which would not be enough. Josh McKean's going to hang on to pole with that 53.9. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it. Not a good enough exit. Chris McNichol improves his time, goes 14th fastest. Luke Southall is going to have to settle for second on the grid. Felix Tavinsva. He's got 2 tenths in his pocket. Looking through the field. Who else has got gains? James Brown's got gains. Yeah, let's check in James Brown. He's got 3 tenths. That would punch him into P14. And he goes 14th fastest. That. Kevin Blanchette, though, has got 6 tenths. He's going to come across the line, and he's going to jump up to P11 for Blanchette in the Sky High Beaver Motorsports entry. Matt Paremba has got 5 tenths in the Iron Lynx. He goes 4th fastest. Mr. Matt Paremba. But the man on pole, Josh McKean. What a race. What a setup. These two, again, swapping places for start of race number 2. Gonzo couldn't get the lap time together. Almost had another Protocharge 1, 2, 3 up at the top. They're getting their setup dialed in. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to get fuel and tires. Get their pressure set. We do have pit wall up and running, folks, if you want to follow the live timing information. Take in a brief moment to remind you we will be kicking it over to Tracklicious Sim Racing afterwards. Exclamation point TSR in chat if you're looking for a good North American community to go race with. They're going to be doing the next round of their GT4 Winter Championship Series. We got a lot of friends from 949 that race over there. Be sure and hang around and check that out. Also, want to remind you, we do have one more round of the Tracklicious 949 Winter Endurance Championship. Exclamation point Enduro if you're looking to book. For that, it's a 2-hour and 40-minute solo Enduro. Trying to think of what else we got going on. Oh, almost forgot. Big shout out to our boy on the ground at Sebring, who from the strategy wall helped guide the 99 Honda Civic from last to first at the Michelin Pilot Challenge, 2 hours of Sebring. Mr. Zach Patterson of Protocharge Sim Sport, also Yaz Motorsport for the HPD program. Big congrats to Zach. Living the dream. We're proud of you, man. Let's do this qualifying order, shall we? The camera's out of the way. So on pole position, they're flipping spots. Josh McKean's going to take the front spot this time in the 77 for Protocharge Sim Sport alongside Luke Southall. These two are going to duke it out all the way to the bitter end, I think. Felix Tavinsva in the Madhouse Academy Porsche. Third on the grid alongside Matt Paremba in the Iron Lynx Ferrari. Ed Kerstetter for 949 in fifth alongside Mike Minning for Chum Motorsports. We got Pete Hutchings with the Protocharge Aston Martin alongside Gixxer in the Hivemind RacingSimTools.com entry. Nick Gonzalez in the Protocharge Bentleys alongside Kevin Blanchett in the Sky High Beaver Motorsport Lexus entry. We got Javier Marquez in the 49 Maka alongside Cole Grace in the Adept Porsche. Oh no, looks like Ed had a moment. He's in the pits. So he's going to be starting from the pits. And they're going to be rolling. So Dan Tazaro in the Turn 1 M4. I don't know if it's going to switch anything around on the order, so I'm just going to keep going. In the 999 for Turn 1. He's 14th alongside the Godfather Soul James Brown. Or excuse me, the Godfather Soul James Brown's alongside Chris McNichol. So Scrubs Go Racing P15, P16. Tanner Rogers for Tritium. He's 17th alongside Adam State for Scrubs Go Racing. Homeschool, he's 19th alongside Will Bruner for Firelight Esports. Jake Hughes in the Tech 1 Lexus alongside Luciano Yads from Madhouse Academy. And Patty McNichols in the Scrubs Go Racing Rider. Let's jump a little bit further on down the order. Justin Moffitt for Crazy Rabbits Racing in the M4 alongside his teammate Chemo Sith for Crazy Rabbits Racing, both driving M4s. We got Sam Ramsbottom in the Karimba Bimba Maka. Prithi Venkat in the 199 Porsche. He's in front of Justin Rowley in the 404. Carlos Guzman for Arcane is 30th on the grid, and he's in front of John Espiritu in the Slava Ukraini Lamborghini. Steve Kays in the number 11 McLaren, 32nd on the grid. Tyler Kozlakis in the Adept, not the Adept, the Tag Heuer Porsche entry. In front of Jose Guzman in the RG Racing Honda. Carton Smelter in the 92 Honda. He lines up 35th on the grid. Mason Hart in the Wonder Bread McLaren is 34th on the grid. Actually, it's shuffling the order around. Sorry about that. So, and then we got Shane Rees and Ed Kerstetter starting from the pits. And that is your starting order. I don't understand what's going on here. We got cars just moving about. Thank you all so much again for hanging out. This is going to be the second race of the night. Round 5 of the 949 GT Sprint Series, Season 8. We've got 3 more rounds after this. It's been a really awesome season so far. Thanks to everybody who is participating in the series. Thanks for everybody watching at home. Thanks to some special people behind the scenes. Mr. Matt Bergen from Protocharge SimSport doing race stewarding duties and race control duties for us. He's a mad lad. We've known him for a long time. An Arkansas native like myself. Also Chris PK from 949 doing double duty with Discord administration, points totals, kind of bat and clean up whenever we can, wherever we can put them. So big thanks to him as well. And Matt Paremba from 949 also doing his thing with the stewarding. Really appreciate those guys a lot. Coasty for coming up with the idea for Season 8. Genius. Absolute genius. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been great. Big thanks also to Mr. Patty McNichol for setting up the points totals for the team championship. We can go over those point totals during the race. But right now we're going racing. Green flag. Josh McKean. Felix giving him pressure on the inside. 3 wide into turn 1. Felix on the inside, forcing the issue. A little contact between him, Josh McKean. Josh is going to have the inside into turn 2. Now it's a drag race down into turn 3. Felix is just spicy. Felix has won here at Paul Ricard before. Pete Hutchings on the inside of Matt Paremba. This is quite the fight. So we do have accidents back in the field, but it looks like they might have been split up in terms of groupings. Nick Gonzalez in the Bentley. He's got a bit of a draft behind Mike Menning. Joseph Kosevich is just getting caught up in the draft. Race leaders into signal corner. Luke Southall has to bail out to the left. It is getting pretty spicy here at the start. On board with Mr. Nick Gonzalez. Action's pretty hot. So Felix, actually, we're going to jump to the front here. We'll take a look at Felix, because Felix and Josh are scrapping. Josh gets around him, gets back into the lead of this race. Matt Paremba sets the fastest lap. Luke Southall kind of looming in the background a little bit. Into turn 1, showing him the nose. Not fully taking the lunge, but trying to force Josh into a bit of a mistake here. Little oversteer moment on corner entry for Felix. Luke Southall starting to gain on him. Matt Paremba gets sent wide. Looking back in the data, doesn't look like there's contact between those two. Actually, it is. Contact between car 44 and car 71. Not sure what happened there. Matt Paremba now stuck in a battle with Gonzo. Meanwhile, Mike Menning is firmly in the draft of Pete Hutchings, lining up on the inside. Gonzo goes wide. Adam State, 13th right now between Javier Marquez and Dan Tizarro. Kevin Blanchette making up some spots. And we got Nick Gonzalez trying to chase down Joseph Kostovich. Some good action here in the mid-pack. Let's jump back a little bit in the field. Take a look at Chemosith, where he's at 23rd right now, currently 6th in Division 3, trying to recover some spots. Tanner Rogers, in the meantime, in the Tech 1 Lexus, he's chasing down Sam Ramsbottom. So in Division 3 right now, we got Marquez, Grace, and Bruner, which this would be a good finish for Bruner in the points. He's got at least 3 spaces between him and Chemosith. So Tanner actually losing ground to the McLaren, which is kind of interesting. Not sure how this Lexus is set up. Ooh, actually, let's jump forward. Let's jump forward. South Hall. This battle is still pretty close. Big Drifto, indeed. How you doing, Shy? Ooh. Homeschool and Patty almost coming together. Patty got to go on the defensive from Prithee. Looks like Ed Kerstetter's in the background there. 23 minutes left in the race. Ooh, Homeschool's got some serious damage on that McLaren. Yeah, I got to get up at like 6:35 tomorrow to go to PT. It's going to suck. Ooh, Coasty on the inside. Ooh, he might have caught a little too much curb, although he is side by side. Oh, Matt loses the back end. Safely rejoins. Nick overcooked it into Garlabon. On board with John Jixer. Ooh. Ooh. no quarter being given between these two. Just because Luke Southall's in the lead of the championship and Felix is a wild card entry, he's not pulling any punches. Oh, let's see the speed difference. This is what Felix has got his blinker on. Oh, Felix is losing the back end. Oh, he saves it. Wow. His tires are going to be shot, but what a save. What an absolute save, man. That was wild. Mike Menning and, well, Pete Hutchings and Mike Menning kind of out in no man's land, duking it out. These two have got about a 4-second gap ahead and a 2-second gap behind. Back through the field. Let's find some more people. Will Bruner in the Firelight Esports entry, currently 1.3 back from JQ. JQ actually pretty close. Actually, JQ got around Marquez. Marquez must have had a moment. Sam Ramsbottom in the Karimba Bimba McLaren trying to catch Tanner Rogers. Well, let's get you guys Yep, I'm psychic. Ooh, something must have happened. Luke Southall's in the lead of this race. I'm looking at the data. I don't see anything that indicates one way or the other what happened. But it looks like Luke Southall takes the lead of this race from Josh McKean. It's that broadcaster. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. What's up, Uncooked? Team orders? I don't know. They're fighting each other pretty hard in Division 1 championship. Like before this, McKean was like 16 points back. The gap's going to be a little bit bigger now between McKean and Southall because Southall took the race 1 win. I mean, what it looks like is it just looks like Southall's just got pace in his hand. He's got pace in hand. How's it going, Leo? Let's get this out of the way so you guys can get a good shot of this fight. We got two really close battles, like right next to each other. We got Pete and Mike are duking it out. And then Coasty and Gonzo are going at it. And then let's look actually. Oh, Mike's going to make the move. Pete is super wide. Mike is going to just sneak on through under the inside. I'm doing good, man. I mean, it should still be showing the same race results. I don't know why it would stop. Yeah, I don't know what happened to pit wall. That's weird. Huh. Sorry about that, folks. Looks like pit wall's causing us some trouble. $16 minutes left in race number 2. 2:41 on track. In terms of temperature, it's 29 degrees, so it is warm. Ooh, Nick showing him the nose. Playing mind games. Nickel on the inside. Oh, man, back end gets a little loose. Cole's just hanging with him. Cole's not letting him go. Into Bassett. Cole on the inside. Takes the place back. McNichol has to make the move stick here because the Porsche is just going to be so much better in maneuverability in this section. Through Bendor Garlaban and now into Latour. On the brakes into the hairpin. Little bit of an oversteer moment, but he keeps it nailed down, and he can make this stick if he can just stay in front through Sector 1, get down the Mistrel Straight. Cole on the inside, though. Man, they are just fighting back and forth for these places. Into Turn 1. Little touch, but no harm, no foul. They kept going the same direction. Cole through Verrieri did pretty well. Now into the hotel complex. Goes way too deep into the hairpin at Ducamp, and that's just going to cost him. Like, it's just going to... We're going to repeat the same lap over again. Has the Audi got damage? I can take a look real quick. A little bit of front damage. Nothing major, though. Actually, I don't even think... I think that's just the reflections. Yeah, see, here we go. Another repeat. Although Cole just did have a bit of an oversteer moment on the exit of Signal Corner. So Southall using that pace in hand and is skating away about 9/10 between him and Josh McKean. So we got Southall, McKean, Hacker are your top three. Benning starting to pull away from Hutchings. 9/10 between them. Coasty still can't seem to get away from Gonzo. This fight between Bruner and Tanner Rogers is starting to pick up. Big moments in the top right corner of your screen. Cole gets around McNichol again. But now Javier and I believe that is Gixxer getting in the mix. So here's where the Lexus should start to gain on Gixxer. Just doesn't seem like he can make it happen, though. I don't know if Tanner's running like a more high downforce setup. Is that Lexus going to go for it? No. I was thinking, no way. So Tanner did pull away. He did pull away from... Oh, Gixxer loses it. Oversteer moment. Okay, he's cutting it. He's out. Ooh. Chemosith and Luciano. Is it just me, or is he, like, really low in the gears? It's almost like it's not revved enough. That is such a weird sounding, that's just such a weird sound. I'm not convinced that there isn't something wrong with the car. 727 Chemosith getting nailed for the drive-through. That is not what Chemosith wanted. Not at all. Ooh, up towards the front here. Gonzalez might be getting ready to make a move. Goes a little too deep into Bassett. It's just the, what's up? What's up, bike guy? Eric, I think it's just the way the, what is it? The way the shading is on the cars, like, from a distance, they don't render certain parts of the car. Gixxer has a bone to pick. Ooh, McKean's starting to gain. Bit of RG Oh, at the beginning of the race? Yeah, that's a lot of DTs. That is a lot of drive-through penalties. Keenan Southall, it's pretty close. PCS Madhouse? Yeah, Felix is in third. So yeah, we got... Oh, Zavi, how's it going, man? Thanks for stopping by. This is the second race of round 5 of the 949 GT Sprint Series. You're a bit overwhelmed with the Discord. You're going to have to be a little more specific, Chromix. You want to know what leagues you offer? Not sure the sprint link still works. Let's see if the sprint link still works. No? Yeah, the 49 McLaren. Yep. From Colombia? I don't know if Javier is from Colombia. Luke is just hanging on. Meanwhile, Gonzo is taking the fight to Coasty. Ooh, the Slava Ukraini Lambo just dives off to the side. He's getting out of it. So they're gaining on Hutch, currently 8/10 back. Yes, Felix is very good with the Porsche at Paul Ricard. He actually won the endurance format, I believe, when it was the 90-minute enduro format here at Paul Ricard in Season 6 in the Porsche. Now, it was 1.7, but it was still the Porsche at Paul Ricard. Car 31, Adam State still got the DT to serve. Southall looks like he's starting to pull a bit of a gap back on Josh McKean. Felix Tavinsva in third. Can you get it on board with him? No, that's not too much. Let's do it. On board with Felix. We'll do Sector 3 with Felix. We got 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in race number 2. We're probably not going to have time for interviews. We're going to send it straight over to Trackalicious because their GT4 series should be getting started here in about 15. Actually, I forgot they start a little bit later, so we might have time for interviews. We'll give it a shot. Ooh. Into signal corner side by side. I believe that was James Brown and Tanner Rogers coming together. You're streaming, so you'll use my cue to go. Gotcha. So the sprint format, so the 1 hour sprint format is 60 minutes. This one, round 5, is the double header format. Here, let's switch back over to some other close fights on track. Actually, Southall's only got 3/10 between him and Josh McKean. So we have a number of formats. If you check the site calendar for GT3 Sprint Series, you'll see all the formats that are up on offer. We've only got, after this race, 2 more formats that we run. Our bread and butter is our 60-minute sprints with mandatory pit stop. And then the series finale is going to be the race weekend format, where it's a single qualifier for a double race. And I believe I can't remember if they're 45 minutes. I think they might be 45-minute races. No, race weekend, 2 qualies. Race 1 is 30 minutes. And then race 2 is 60 minutes. So it's basically about the equivalent of our normal endurance format. Pits are open, but 1 liter of fuel is required on pit stop for the races. And fixed fueling, tire sets are optional. Our tires are optional, tire sets are unlimited. So that's going to be the race weekend finale. But our bread and butter is the 1 hour sprint. This is the double header, so 2 30-minute sprints, double quali. And then we also have the endurance, which is the 80-minute open pit format. Southall's really hanging on to it. 3/10 between him and Josh. Josh has been doing really good, though, to hang with Southall. Southall having a little bit of an oversteer moment out of DuPont. Looks like Kostovich does find his way around Hutchings, who's now in front of Gonzo. And then we've got Matt Paremba in the background there. In Division 2, Menning, top spot in P4 right now. You have to go all the way back to Blanchette to get the next Division 2 runner, and then James Brown after that. Division 3, we've got Grace Rogers Bruner. So Bruner's going to get a good points haul. Take the fight to Chemosith. We call it the endurance format mainly just because it's longer than our normal sprint format. Keep in mind, this is a weeknight, like North America time, so we do have kind of like jobs and real world responsibilities to get to the next day. So that's what we call like our weekday endurance format. But we do have an endurance league on Saturdays once a month with Trackalicious, the Trackalicious 949 Winter Endurance Championship. Exclamation point Enduro if you're interested in that. We've got one more round left at Kyalami for the series finale. Josh is right there. Gonzo losing a spot to Matt Paremba. Although in Sector 3, I wonder if Matt can hang on to that Ferrari. He was having some trouble with the car balance a bit. I missed the end of the race with Luke crossing the line. I wanted to be sure to catch it for race number 2. Very important. Luke Southall taking race number 2. Josh McKean coming across the line in second place. Luke just continuing that dominance. And then we've got Felix Tvinsva taking the third place finish as a wildcard entry. Mike Menning, Division 2 in fourth. Joseph Kostovich for 949 Red coming across the line in fifth. Pete Hutchings for Protocharge going to take sixth place. Gonzo in seventh. Matt Paremba in eighth. We've got Kevin Blanchette with Sky High Beaver Motorsport in ninth. Dan Tazaro in the M4 for turn 1. He's 11th. Chris McNichol, 11th for Scrubs Go Racing. Cole Grace in the Adept Porsche, 12th. Tanner Rogers for Tritium in 13th. James Brown for Scrubs Go Racing in 14th. Will Bruner for Firelight in 15th. JQ in 16th. Got Luciano Yads in 17th. Sam Ramsbottom for Karimba Bimba in 18th. Justin Moffat's going to come across the line in 19th. Adam State, he's going to come across the line in 20th in front of Javier Marquez. Shane Reeves is going to come across the line in 22nd. Justin Beachley, 23rd. Patty McNichol is going to be 24th in the rider for Scrubs Go Racing. Chemo Sith in 25th. And then we've got Steve K. Actually, you know what's interesting? The majority of the field was on the lead lap. Top 25 were on the lead lap, which is kind of crazy. That's a pretty good spread. Prithi is going to be 26th, Peter Greaves in 27th, Tyler Kozlakis in 28th. Still duking it out in the back of the field with Jose Guzman and Justin Rowley. Justin Rowley's going to take a time penalty for a drive-through. And then we've got Carlos Guzman and Carson Schmelter and Mason Hart, John Espiritu, Ed Kerstetter, Ryan McIntosh, and Rogerio Santos. Let's go ahead and head on back to the pits. Into the timetables we go. Let's see if we can get... let's do... We're going to do... Let's get... We're going to switch it up. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to get Division... Let's see here. Let's get Southall, Menning. Let's do... Oh. The timetables again. So let's get Southall... If we can get Southall, Menning... we got to do this quick too, man. It's going to be so hard. Yeah, we might have to do just a couple. I'll do Southall and Menning for race 1. And for race 2, I want to do, let's do Cole and JQ if we can get them. I actually don't know Cole's, Cole G. One second, everybody. I want to see if I can get people in there for a couple of quick words before we send it over to Trackalicious. Bounce out of here. I'll pull up the highlights while we wait.
Well, Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. You know, I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine.
Highlights.
You ain't first, you're last. You know what I'm talking about? That phrase is trademark, not to use it as a tradition, Ricky Bobby.
Pull up the race number 1 highlights. Let that run. G. Steven, man. Thanks, dude. Cat Jam. What's up, Banshee? 5 months, dude. Thanks. JQ, try and jump into community voice chat. See if I can get to talk to some of the drivers that finished. So I see Menning. I'm going to go ahead and pull him down into the interview channel. Mike, how's it going?
Pretty good.
How was that race, man?
That was pretty good. I knew I had decent pace around Paul Ricard, so pretty happy about that.
Awesome, man. So tell me about Paul Ricard. I mean, it seemed like you had the Aston really figured out over there.
Yeah, I participated in a league like a couple weeks ago at Paul Ricard, and I don't know why, but I really tried making my setup good there, and I think I figured some good out there. So yeah, I mean, Aston has pretty good straight line speed, so obviously this will be a decent track for it. So yeah.
Yeah, and your division, so your Division 2 point standings are going, you're going to get a good healthy bump on homeschool, because it seemed like he had a pretty dramatic 2 races. But how are you feeling about going into the final 3 rounds? You've been pretty strong all season.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I think I've been pretty consistent. We'll see what tracks come my way, because I just seem to have really great at some tracks, and then the other tracks just are not it. So really just depending on whatever tracks come my way, but I have pretty high confidence.
Good deal, man. Good deal. Well, you got 3 more rounds left. We've got another set of polls coming up. You got 2 sprint races for the next 2 rounds, and then the series finale for the race weekend. So good luck with the rest of your season, man. Division 2 leadership, or the leader in the points, looks like you're going to get a healthy bump. So you got a little bit of a buffer, but good luck with the rest of your season, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you.
Luke down into here. Mr. Southall, how's it going?
I don't know. It's going good, I guess.
Good job, man. Another commanding round from you at Paul Ricard. Tell me about race number 2. It looks like Josh had you a little bit on the back foot there.
Yeah, I guess I lost out at the start, and then I always knew I could get past fairly easily, because I could pretty much just get past on the straight.
Yeah. So,
like
go ahead.
Bigger difference down the straight as I thought it might be, but like it's enough.
Yeah, it is. Well, I could tell specifically between you and Felix, the pace delta was definitely there. Between you and Josh, it was a little bit less. But the thing is it also seemed like there were a couple moments when I was like watching you in particular that it seemed like in the Sector 3 in particular, it seemed like you were getting a little bit oversteery in terms of corner exit. Is that just like typical Lexus behavior in the low speed stuff?
Yeah, it doesn't like to turn on the brakes, and then it likes to turn on the power base.
Yeah,
Oversteer on the power.
It's such a fun car, but man, it really feels like you had it planned out really well in the season. You won in the tracks that you needed to because you were at the disadvantage, and then you come to a track like Paul Ricard where the Lexus has a clear advantage, and you dominate. You got 3 more rounds left. The points are going to grow a little bit between you and Josh, but it's still going to be relatively close. How do you feel for the next 3 rounds?
I guess fairly confident in. I mean, I only really need like decent results, I guess now, like podiums and stuff. But I mean, not knowing what the tracks are, it's hard to say.
Yeah,
how confident you feel going into.
But still, man, a commanding lead, and you're slotted for being potentially the first 3-time champ for 949. Not trying to jinx you or anything like that, but is that starting to set in a little bit?
It's starting to feel like I kind of should convert it at this point, is how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah. And it's been a long time coming. I mean, you didn't get your first championship with us until season 5, but you'd been racing with us since season 1, so it was a long time coming. But definitely, you're getting close to clinching that 3rd. So congratulations for your 2 race results, man, and we'll see you in round 6.
Yep, thanks, Phil.
Have a good night, man.
You too.
All right, let me get JQ's in here. How's it going, JQ? Can you hear me, JQ? I don't know if JQ can even hear me. I believe you finished first in race number 2 in Division 4, but I could be wrong. I don't know if he can hear me. Here, I'll come back to him. Cole, let's get Cole in here. Hey, Cole, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. So that right there, you, sir, were putting on a bit of a clinic for folks at home on how to qualify the Porsche. How was Paul Ricard for you, first of all, in the Porsche?
It might make some people mad, but I want to check how many hours I have before. I wish I could see that. I think I have less than an hour on Paul Ricard before this race.
Well, there you go, man. All you needed to do was just get the setup dialed in for quali, because that was just so critical for everybody to get that good quali lap, because you're in Division 3. So getting a good quali lap, and you had a lot of space between your Division 3 rivals, that gave you a pretty good buffer. You really had a good consistency. It seemed like you didn't run into any kind of scuffles during the race. Did it seem like a pretty clean experience for the 2 races?
I had a blast, like Paul Ricard's like, it's technical in the minute things you have to do, in that sense, but it's a pretty straightforward track. I think the racing was good on everyone's end. I think also it helped that I was up more by the Div 2, Div 1 guys, that like it's a little bit cleaner racing up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped out a lot. My qualifying lap, man, like second quali was definitely a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I think I got a 55.8.
Yep.
But I think it's the, I don't know what the T number is, but the second corner before the straight, because you have to get out of that one smooth to get a good run.
Yep.
For the straight, and I had no toe for the whole qualies, which was a little sucks for the Porsche. It sucks a little bit for the Porsche, but I think the most time I gained was that sweeper, right-hand sweeper after the straight.
Oh yeah, signal corner. It's critical for you to set up signal corner, because when you go into turn 3, if you start losing time, if you lose time after a massive straight like Mistrel, you're just going to be paying for it for the rest of the lap. You're never going to get it back. But it definitely seemed like you had it all figured out in terms of the setup. You definitely made a statement for your Division 3 competitors. How do you feel about the Season 8 so far? How's that going for you?
It could always be better, but I think it's we're making strides, getting better every weekend. So that's what you always want to see. I think last weekend definitely sucked for sure. Great quality time, and then just not really set myself up for success during the race. But that's last weekend. This weekend, did I win Div 3?
You won Div 3, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. But
So-
yeah, I mean, when trajectory is going up, you can't be mad at that.
Indeed, indeed. So you got 3 more rounds going into the. So we got 3 more rounds before the end of the season. You got 2 sprints in the race weekend format. Sprints by now you're probably pretty used to because that's our bread and butter. The race weekend format, Matt, though, you've got the 30-minute and the 60-minute feature race. So it's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more taxing. So how are you feeling about those kind of format changes coming up?
Racing's racing. You know, no matter how long it is, I'm actually gearing up for a couple endurance races anyway. So it's always nice to be on the track longer. I'm just trying to hit my marks every lap, and that's all you can do, really.
Fantastic. Well, good performance here in round number 5, both races. Congratulations, and looking forward to seeing what you can do in round 6.
Yeah. A little stat. Even after the race, I have 55 laps total on Paul Ricard.
There you go, folks. If you need any coaching on the Porsche, I'm sure he's got his Venmo open. But anyway, Cole, congratulations again for the 2 good results for round number 5. Looking forward to round number 6, and good luck with the rest of your season.
I'm excited. Thank you very much, and always a good broadcast. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. See ya.
Have a good day.
Hey, JQ, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, JQ. It's been a long time, brother, since we've been in a voice chat together.
Like 2 years.
Yeah, it's been like 2 years. So tell me about Paul Ricard. Race number 1 seemed like it was a bit of a struggle bus, but it does seem like you figured out the Lexus for race number 2. Tell me about it.
I like it. I like the car. It's the best I've driven so far. So it has good acceleration, good braking, and overall, indeed, it's a good car. Yeah.
So with the it being, in terms of balance, it being a very good car for Paul Ricard, did you feel like you had a leg up on the competition just based on the car you chose?
No, I thought I was going to end up last because I didn't even practice. That's the truth. I was working all afternoon, and I didn't even know I won. Someone told me I won the race. I didn't even know because on the first race I got punted twice. And from P39, I went to P23, I think. And then I got punted, and I lost a lot of positions. And then I got punted again, and I got punted as well twice on the second race. So I had no idea I won. I didn't know.
Good persistence, man. I mean, staying with it. In these lower divisions, in these lower divisions in particular, like staying with the race even after you have a little bit of calamity really goes to your benefit, because if you finish that 75% race distance, you get 10 points anyway. If you finish in the points from top 10 and above perspective, you can bring home a massive haul of points. So you getting that 15 points in Division 3 is really going to put you in a good spot on top of the 10. Which actually I need to go back and look at the points total. I don't know if it's actually 10 for both races, so 20 on offer for finishing in both races, plus the 15 for that second race, plus whatever you got in the first race. So there could be a massive amount of points on offer, but we'll have to take a look and see. I need to double check that format rule to see what the scoring is. Or somebody in chat, if anybody else wants to correct me on it, be sure and do that. But man, seriously, congratulations. You've been putting in work in the Lexus, and it seems like things are starting to come together. Does it feel like it's coming together?
It does. I've been putting a lot of work, and I think my performance today came out of anger because what happened last race.
Yeah, Kyle Lamy was pretty dramatic, but the thing is that it looked like you were a little bit out of the points in terms of Division 4 right now, but getting that top finish in the second race probably could pull you back into it a little bit, because Rogerio Santos was a scratch for race 1 and 2, so you're definitely going to gain on him. You finished ahead of Jose, so it looks like there's some good opportunities there to make up some ground.
I was lucky this round was a double header, so I can grind a little bit more of points, and I'm glad about that. My intention is to win the Division 4.
Yeah.
So with what happened last race, I thought my chances were gone, but I'm gonna do whatever I can.
Well, you still got race weekend coming up at the season finale, so another double race points. By the way, for everybody at home, it's not double points. It's a normal race point total, but cut in half for 2 races. So you get 2 opportunities to get the 15 of winning your division in both races. But so you got the race weekend at the end of the season, so another one of those on offer, and then 2 1-hour sprints.
Yeah, but to get the chances, the chance to make a difference.
Yeah,
maybe not scoring more points, but at least you can make a difference.
Yeah, and
you have the twice chances.
Yeah, that's a big deal. One question I want to ask you, JQ, before you go. I'm gonna remind but people in chat don't know this, but you and me have known each other as long as I've been sim racing, all the way back to Project Cars 2. How are you enjoying the 949 GT Sprint? Well, your wheel for one, because you used to be a keyboard and mouse warrior, which was mad. But how are you enjoying your time in the 949 GT Sprint series so far?
I like how you guys play with the weather. That makes me a better driver, and that's what I drive for, to become a better driver. And a lot of different paces, so you have to study your opponents. New tracks for me. I don't play this game a lot. So I'm studying the tracks as we go. I don't even have time to practice, as I said before. And I encounter a lot of people with different paces. You have to, a lot of different divisions. You have to brake earlier sometimes. Maybe the guy in front of you is quicker, so you can stretch your braking, and that's also good. And I'm learning a lot. And if I have to say something, is congratulations to you guys for organizing all of this. It's amazing.
Dude, here's the thing, man. I'm happy to have you in here with us because, like I said, we've known each other for a long time. So getting you in here makes me happy because it's almost like I'm coming full circle on the beginning of my sim racing, my sim racing life. So, but anyway, congratulations on the race 2 result.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to seeing what you can do with us in round 6, man. So good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
All right, dude. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. So with that, folks, we're going to get set up. Actually, let's go ahead and get the raid fired up to go over to Trackalicious. Let's double check and see if they're streaming. Hopefully they are. They are. GT4. They're about to go do another round of the Winter Championship. Go over there and say hello. Just say hi from 949. Watch some good racing. We got a lot of friends from 949 that participate over in the GT4 Winter Championship with Trackalicious. There's some good dudes. Exclamation point TSR in chat if you're looking for the Trackalicious Discord. They've got a lot of good races coming up in not only their GT3 but GT4 series. Yeah, we'll be back next week with round 6. Probably going to do some Wednesday night low fuel as well. A lot of good stuff coming up. Exclamation point Enduro if you want to participate in the final round of the Endurance series. Yeah, I think that's about it. This is a good race. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. Round 5 was a lot of fun. Paul Ricard was a lot of fun. The race or the double header format actually worked out really well, and I'm super happy for that. Thanks for the support, everybody. Huff, I saw you come in late. Well, you might have been in here watching, but I saw you chat late, so it was good to see you, man. Milo, you have a good night as well. And yeah, just say hi to Trackalicious for us. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, leave space for one another. See you next time.